Get more on this from Michael Buchmeier. He's a professor at the Department of Molecular Biology and Biochemistry at the University of California. Really great to have you with us, Michael. First of all, there are projections from the Trump administration that this outbreak that we're seeing in the United States may extend to July and August, which means we'll sort of be well into the summer. Do you think that that's being a bit optimistic at this point, or could we see it drag on a lot longer than that?
I think there are two factors that one has to consider. And one is the ability of people to sustain the kinds of separation, the kinds of physical separation and isolation that we have currently. For example, have just ceased all student training activities in live classrooms, and we're going strictly to electronic classrooms and electronic exams. We can't do that forever. So there will be a point at which we have to get back to some sort of normality. The second thing is how long the virus is going to endure. SARS virus disappeared rather quickly in the summer. This may or may not do the same. It seems to be much more contagious than SARS. So we just don't know at this point. It could well linger on for some time, as Dr. Fauci has just said, for a year or more.
What do you find to be the most challenging part of what has quickly evolved into a global pandemic?
I think understanding the difference in age susceptibility. Children can be infected with this virus and you might not even know that they have anything but a cold. Whereas the older we get, and certainly up to age 50, the infection is rather minor, going from the statistics. And then once you get 50, it seems to accelerate very rapidly to a very high mortality rate at age 80. So understanding that age susceptibility is a critical aspect of learning how to handle this disease.
So a lot of the panic surrounding the coronavirus, I think for a lot of people is the fact that it's sort of a foreign virus to all of us. It's not something that we hear that's like the flu, which everybody gets a flu shot. So when we talk about a vaccine potentially being ready for the next outbreak of this, maybe not the first wave, but the second outbreak, how effective do you think it will be and for, I guess, even nationally here in the U.S., for Americans not to have to implement such extreme measures like self-quarantining, et cetera?
Well, I think that the possibility is very, very good that it will return. We have coronavirus infections every year. They're not uncommon. There are at least two kinds of common colds and some other upper respiratory tract infections. They're very different than we're seeing with SARS and with COVID. And so I think that we have to understand the virus much better than we do now before we can make long-term predictions about how it's going to behave. The human testing, the human vaccine development is very impressive, but we still need to see that it works. And there will be competition among the companies to see whose vaccine is the most efficient, most effective. And we have to go through that procedure as well as additional clinical trials. So I would hesitate to get too excited about the vaccines until we actually decide whether or not they're effective. So there's a lot of work to do.
And it sounds like they're right, and it sounds like they're quite a ways off, at least 12 months. Well, Michael Buchmeier, we really appreciate your expertise. Thanks for coming on.